Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, Coach Jay, we hear you loud and clear. And another exciting Monday. How is
Happy
everyone doing?
Monday. Happy first day of the first trading day of the month. Happy first trading day of the week. Happy birthday to my dad. Welcome,
Happy birthday, Dad.
welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. If this is your first time here, goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we could take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. This is our first time meeting. I am Coach Jay. I've been a Topstep performance coach since June of 2023. I've been trading for the past 13 years and in the futures markets for the past 6, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep for 2 years. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experience, some knowledge, and hope to help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You are all our chat, our audience. Let us know how your day went. Are you up on the day, down on the day? Anything that you learned from the day is the start of a new month, and I guess not technically the second half of the year yet, but close to it. Close to it. There are 144 trading days left in the year after today. We start with 250, so we're close to halfway through it. How's everyone doing?
And, oh, what a turnaround day.
Yes, it was. Bink passed the 150K combine today. Good start to the day. Up four-figure day for Linus Rain. Aries, red day, but that's normally how I start out. Okay. Rough, green, but the market makers are ducking some weird volume spikes. Yeah, there was some interesting stuff going on in the middle of the day there. I think before Powell. Uh, Up on the day here, my XFA follow my rules and didn't hit my trailing drawdown. Good stuff. Did I hold that natural gas long from last night? GDL, I did not. But we'll talk about the trade. Talk about it. It was a pretty nice one. I realized I didn't share screens with you, Coach Paul, so I'll share those with you in a second. No. And should be good to go.
We're good.
Right.
There we go.
All right, let's get into it. News. Let's go to the news first. Right at the close there, the U.S. extends tariff pause on some Chinese goods to August 31st. The U.S. Trade Representative announced the extension on May 31st. Uh, Planned news, we did have S&P manufacturing PMI final come out at 52. Forecast was 52.3. ISM manufacturing came in at 48.5. Forecast was 49.5. We did have Powell speaking a little bit earlier as well. I kind of missed some of his speech. I was out running some errands. Anything specific that he said, Coach Paul, that we should pay attention to? Anything you caught from Powell?
Not that I saw, just watching the bonds. They came off their lows, had a little short covering rally into the close, but nothing major. As we've said before, it all has to do with a thing called T's. It starts with a T, ends with an S, and I'm not talking tacos.
Taco Tuesday is tomorrow, in fact. Uh, Tariff Day is every day. We did see some comments a little earlier. Trump administration wants the nation's best offer by Wednesday in tariff talks. The Trump administration wants nations to give their best offer by Wednesday as officials look to speed up talks with multiple partners ahead of a self-imposed deadline in just 5 weeks. So keep kicking the can down the road. Um, Still no deals on the table, but hey, want your deal on my desk by Wednesday. Let's see how many of our trade partners get those deals sent in. Anything else you have on the news front, Coach Paul, that we want to cover?
It's nothing much, but an incredible move by Ukraine over the weekend. How it affected markets. Well, gold had a beautiful rally today. Platinum starting to go. I think it was pretty big news, and it changed the equation possibly in that conflict. But other than that, big financial news, no. Um, but it could change with one more tweet across a red headline to the above your head, and that's all that really matters now.
That is all that matters. Let's get into the charts then. There are 35 different markets we can trade with top step accounts. And today, to the downside, we had soybean oil down 0.7%, corn down 1.3%, and sorry, we had soybeans down 0.7%, corn down 1.3%, and soybean oil down 1.41% for our biggest percentage mover to the downside. To the upside, we had copper up 3.84%, silver up 5.79%, and natural gas, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, at 8.27%. To talk about our big four, we have crude oil up 3.85%, the S&P up 0.64%, gold up 2.75%, and the Nasdaq up 0.89% to round out our big four. Ton of movement out there today. A ton of movement out there today. I think I said it during the opening call that the equities were probably going to take a back seat to anything else. A lot of movement in the energies. But I have a NASDAQ chart up here. Go out to a daily since we are starting the week, starting the month. What are we looking at here, Coach Paul, on a daily chart in the NASDAQ?
Well, we held the 20 that which had crossed, um, held it nicely. Still in the sideways correction from 2 weeks ago, but it is not giving it up. It appeared early it might on the opening last night, but being above that 200 a day moving average, it doesn't pay. It didn't pay to get short, and boy, they punished any sellers.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. It's still above that 200 daily moving average. The 20 crossed above it a couple days ago, kind of using it as a support. Didn't get down exactly to it. Low of the day in the NASDAQ, 21,163. That 20 moving average is at 2168. But we got a little bit of a pullback and we bounced. Let's go to a 30-minute chart. Take a look at extended trading hours and we'll look at last night. We did gap open last night under that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. We gapped down, had decent trade to the downside last night. If you were looking for it, it wasn't the quickest trade, but we did get volume to leave that range and trend a little bit lower uh, for making the lows of the day 21,163 and turning around from there. Uh, this is on the London Open. I'm going to leave that on the charts.
I was just gonna say that.
We're going to leave that there. And we're going to go into a shorter time frame. Now, we did have the PMI numbers out this morning, 15 minutes after the open, and there was another number that came out a half hour into the open at 9 a.m. Central Time. Take a look at the opening range. So, huge opening range this morning. Whether you look at a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 15 minute, this was a 100.3 minute opening range in the NASDAQ. And the first trade that I took was a short. Uh, we got a push up into what was yesterday's high. Yesterday's high was up at 21,433. Uh, and I saw a question in the chat when Dakota and I both took this short. Why look for this short if we have VWAP starting to leave this range? And it's a good question. And initially, I think it was because of the pace and the range of that opening range was just a little too large for to look for continuation right away. And we start to see that VWAP kind of flatten out already and get extended from it. So when we looked above the Friday's high, we saw that volume not following it, Coach Paul. And what have the equities done over the past 2 weeks?
Rallied
Right,
on the opening.
right. But on a daily, more specifically.
Oh, it's held a 200-day moving average and continues, especially in the S&P.
Yep. But my hypothesis coming into this morning was we were going to see the equities kind of range. So that rejection above the high of above Friday's high was the reason I got short. I got short 21,414, and uh, looking for a trade back to the VWAP. But we got there. I didn't hold the trade that far. I think I got 50 points out of it, but I'll take that. But a pretty nice trade. But the reason we left this area marked out down here, Coach Paul, because what did we get right at those lows?
Um,
Right at the lows here.
I don't know. It got me. Oh, 200-day moving average.
200
Yeah, and we got a J trade.
200-day moving average. There was somebody in the
And
chat that called this out. Nice job, right? We've talked earlier about
uh,
uh, sometimes you guys are going to catch trades that I don't see or that we don't see. Take them. If it's something that you've seen play out time and time again, it doesn't matter whether I take it or not. Sometimes I might be blinded by my own bias, but this was a perfect
yeah, it
example
was.
of a J trade, and that was the low for the day. Ton of volume, more volume than the open. I ignored the signal and got short in the Dow here. But what a reversal from that point. Almost a 300-point move to the high of the day after that reversal there. So a really nice trade. Signals are only as good as the executions of them. And this is a perfect example of that as well. So I was happy about that short that I took initially. Maybe got caught in a little bit of a bias to the short side and missed a great trade opportunity. But there is always tomorrow. Anyone catch that trade? Linus Rain took it, bought that trade, held it all day. I was so disappointed in myself that I missed that one. Yeah, I can say I am too. I can say I am too. It was a blatant signal. But if you don't execute your game plan, the only person to be upset with is yourself. Coach Paul, anything else on the equities?
Well, let's go to the daily again
Hmm.
on the S&P. And now we have the 20 about to cross over. The 20 is leading this, where you keep holding it, bouncing over it. Um, I just they it can't go down. It it can't go up on any tweet. This is why keeping your 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 account and keeping strict risk management. This market is loaded with false starts and stops. Um, like I said, it's been going on for 2 weeks, but this coiling action, I mean, I don't know what goes through the administration's mind. I don't pretend, but this does get somehow settled. This market could just again rip to the upside. Um, it's so tempting to get short, but over time, it pays to get too short stocks over time. And today was a great witness of that. That J trade, it's me, that was larger um, participants buying what they need to buy. Remember, this is the first day of the month,
Yep.
and I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I, um, and what do I mean by first day of the month? Well, institutions, BlackRock, all the big funds, that they come to buy stocks. They're it's in their paperwork. They're buying stock for the public. Their their mission is not to get short stocks. So they have a ton of money, which when we go back to that monthly we've been watching, to me, they're clear to buy stock. They're not, and they waited for what? A break. Okay, we'll start bringing some in. That really appears to be it. And they got that break off the opening where they bought low and never got out. I think we're going to see more and more of that.
I agree with you. I agree with you. We really haven't seen any selling sustain, and we haven't gotten really, directional to the upside either. But there's been a lot more failed selling recently. Of course, anything can change, but we're seeing tariffs get delayed. We're, hearing conversations about deals, and then, don't want to focus so much fundamentally, but selling is continuing to fail here, right? Um, Equity markets are meant to go up. New month, new quarter. Uh, yeah, these look really bullish. So
Yeah,
go ahead.
and we saw it start in London,
Yep.
which was really that was the low. That's where a decent amount of volume started coming in. So
Yeah, they just look like they came back, tested it again just to make sure. That was it.
yeah, or they were waiting in the weeds, buy it.
Yep.
But that's pretty friendly to me. The way I see things, it's very friendly to the upside.
Ending near the high of the day is 59.55 half was the high of the day in the S&P. We're trading 59.50 half right now. Got away from that 59.10 level that Jack was looking at. 59.10 kind of coincides with 5900 in the SPX. So let's see. Pretty bullish close. Some bullish fundamental news potentially, and these markets are looking for any reason to buy. So we may be seeing this right now. Got a question from Joe in the chat. Opening range. What is the best time frame? I see a lot of people using 15 minutes. How do you decide to get involved in the opening range trade or not? Appreciate if you can give me some guidance. Joe, you're going to see traders use the 1 minute opening range. Some people use 30 seconds. People use 3 minutes. Some people use a 5 minute. Some people use 15 minute, half an hour. Some people use an hour, which is called the initial balance. Whatever you decide to use, keep it consistent. And the concept should be the same. Uh, I have a 3 minute opening range on my chart here. And the idea behind an opening range trade is let the range establish. And then if the market breaks in either direction, you're taking the trade in that direction. So in this case, the initial trade would have been a long, right? If you use the standard rules of opening range trading. Uh, we look at a 1 minute opening range. The initial trade would have been a long as well, right? We broke initially to the upside. Simplest trade that you could really take, right? Let the range establish, trade it in that direction. Now, uh, sometimes those opening range trades are going to lead to trends for the day, right? You hear Hogue say, the opening range is the dead ass high or low of a market sometimes. Sometimes it leads to a trend, uh, but it's up to you how you manage that trade, right? If we can see it in this case, we had an opening range trade that was a breakout to the long side in the S&P, you got 12 points. If you were risking the opening range, right, which was 8 points, you got a 1.25 to 1 trade. Are you looking for more than that, or are you okay taking this? I think if Coach Paul, for me, if I take a 1 minute opening range trade like this and it presents profits to me, I'm usually just going to take whatever it gives me.
1-to-1 risk reward.
Correct. Uh,
Yeah, on a 1 minute.
a 1 minute.
Yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
no, no. I think the key is be consistent. I can't say that enough. If sometimes well, I like the 1 minute and I gotta go to the 5 minute, the 3 minute, and keep hopping around, you're not going to get continuity, um, and you're gonna get frustrated.
Yep.
Uh, Back test it or forward test it in your practice account. I used to use the 30 minute. Now for day trading, to me, for what I do, that's a lot of time. Um, so I changed to the 3 minute. Now that's hasn't been it's been 50-50 for a few weeks. but it's part of the process.
Yep.
And I will continue to do that process because I know if I go 2 to 1 over time, I have an edge. Now, what works for you? How much are you willing to risk on one trade? And how involved do you want to be? The longer the time frame, the bigger the risk that you have to take.
Agreed. And I like the taking a 1-to-1, taking a 2-to-1 when it plays out, Coach Paul, because regardless of the time frame, right? If I look at a 1 minute opening range, it worked out if I took it by the rules, right? Broke the opening range to the upside, get long. If I held onto that trade for too long on a day like today, it turned into a loser. I could go to the 15-minute opening range. The rule would have said take a short. I had a trade that was profitable, 25 points in this case. If I held onto it and was looking for more, then you know that could have turned into a loser as well. So I think it's important to some days it's going to lead to the trend. Other days it's going to reverse. But I don't know about you guys. If I got a trade that's 25 points in the profit in the S&P, leaving here with something. Not leaving that all that on, not leaving all that on the table. Uh, Pretty nice reversal for the rest of the day. Anything else on the equities, Coach Paul?
Oh, our friend Rusty. Let's not forget about Rusty. Can it break the downtrend line on the daily? Do we still have that?
I deleted it because I delete all my
Oh,
patterns every once in a while, but we can draw it again. Pro at trend lines now.
oh. Did we close above that trend line?
We did not.
We went right to it today.
Right to it.
So I still think of the Rusty. I've got it on my list for tomorrow. I just have a feeling if this market is good, they're going to buy the broader based indices in a hurry. Just my feeling. This one is just trailing.
Yeah.
Um, uh, well, we will watch it again tomorrow. Look at trend lines work until they don't work.
One's working. And let's
This
see
one's work.
from see, this is where I get stuck. How would you draw this? Would you draw it here? Would you draw it here?
Well, the latest one, yeah, there. Um, that's why it's a downtrend. Those uptrend lines that are sharper or higher than 45 degrees are easily broken, and you can get misled. That's why, and again, you use a 45 degree off that low, because then you would have time and price as 1 to 1. Um, but a moving average is important there. Yeah, that's almost the 45, and the GAN tools, which are really difficult to use. But uh, um, you, it is channeling higher. So I just think when it goes, if you're bullish, buy the ones that are unprofitable. Someone said in the chat. Yeah, that's the overall stock is 2,000 stocks. But it's trailing. Makes it very interesting. But
Does it does. All right. Alex said define 45 degrees.
well,
That
it's even on a 90 degree, it's halfway. 90 degrees there's a 360 degrees. 90 degrees is halfway in a circle. So 45 degree would be the next halfway. It's 1 to 1 time price. Maybe I'll run an hour on GAN, but that's the idea. And it can change over time zoom, and that's why I like to do it by hand. Very good, Alex. Um, I used to do them all by hand, and the computer doesn't really do it well for me. But you can get a good idea of it. Um, so if you look at 1-to-1 in a relationship to time to price, you would get a 45-degree angle. We're a little steeper than that now, but the major thing is the resistance at the trend line and the 200-day moving average. I really want to buy it aggressively if we can get over it. If not, I don't play it.
Oh, all right, let's move over to gold. Gold. Not keep this market down. Rollover's over, and we get directional.
Oh boy, it sure appears that
We
way.
get directional.
When we had that trend line and we've settled above that downtrend line from the all-time highs, we held the 50 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We're above the 20. We're above that moving average. That taco has been broken. That looks really friendly to me. And we opened on the low and closed on the high.
That's not bullish. I don't know what
Look
is.
at that last night.
Here is last night's open. We opened right below that 200 moving average on the 30-minute chart. Take that off there for a second. And let's add a VWAP on here. VWAP took a little while to leave the range. We know that 9 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern is where we've seen volume start to pick up in gold. So could we call this our opening? Either way,
Yep.
volume was not coming in to sell this market at all. We opened up with a gap and left it. There were some traders asking in the market kickoff yesterday, does that gap need to fill before we continue higher? This is a perfect example of no. Nothing needs to happen in these markets. We can just go if the markets want to. Held 50% of that 30-minute opening range, Coach Paul, and that was it.
Yeah, and that's a great question. I mean, gaps get filled a large majority of the time. It's a highly probable thing, except when it doesn't. If it holds a gap, and we're day trading. So it gave some time. Like you said, it was slow. It gapped up, held that opening, and then there was no sellers that could fill that gap, right? So it was off to the races. Reading, buying versus selling is really what we do as chartists. And there it is right there. I mean, they jumped, they grabbed it. Whether they bought it because of of the situation in Ukraine, Russia, does it or a dollar weakness? It's another big thing when we're talking the dollar falling apart again. But didn't fill the gap for day trading. It's over. Didn't fill the gap. It's never going to fill that gap on a day basis. We only here trade from opening to close. Everything else, it's done. And we're back into the moment. So we watched tonight's open and start anew. But in that situation, yeah, that had a chance to fill the gap, but that was strong buying. It was in strong hands. It was allocated. And man, when we got back above that, we could see by VWAP that it was at whatever entity was buying that had no intention of getting out. And just said buy X. I don't know what. When I was a filling broker, sometimes you get this huge order. And I said, well, they don't ask you to get a good price. They don't care about the price. They're allocating. And then when you see that this is the DNA, later in the day, we break out of that opening range. Since it's like this, but it could be an algorithm that says buy it every minute, buy X amount, buy 100 every minute, up to 2,000 contracts. I don't know. I would, but it leaves a trail, and this is the trail it left.
Closing above 3400s for the first time in a little while. We haven't been up here in almost a month. It's been 25 days since we closed, actually, even longer. 26 days since we closed above that 3400 level. Uh, this is rollover, so the all-time high, which was previously 3509.90, is now 3536.9 with the adjustment for rollover. That is less than 4% away. Gold was up 2 point almost 3% today. So it's not far off. We could be talking about all-time highs before the end of the week if this market really wants to get going. Of course, anything can and will happen. Uh, anything else you got on gold, Coach Paul?
Um, that's it.
That's it. Let's move over to crude oil. Take a look at the daily on crude and our moving averages here. Are we breaking out of this pattern?
Oh, yes, we are. And they're all been tempting. I didn't get it last night because there was another one that gapped and went. This market to me is bottoming. We had what was it? OPEC said that we're going to ramp up production. But I
Yeah,
believe they said they were going to ramp up production. So I mean, and then we rallied heavily. Uh, Once again, we would talk about the 20 and a 50. We've broken out of it. I want to try and buy it again against that 50 or even a 20. It's gaining momentum to the upside. And look at the size of this volume on the buy side. That's the biggest volume we've had in a couple weeks, which breaks us above the 50. Let's put some pressure on shorts. If they have to start buying, we could have a decent rally. It just looks like it's turned. We talk about balance to imbalance. This last 2 weeks, some of those ranges were less than a half an hour range a couple years ago. But yeah, it looks very friendly to me. Also, there was talk. I mean, when we see things like big news, we're going to ramp up production, and then we see explosion in energy markets. Okay, talk is cheap, but you're short. You got to come up with some margin.
right.
Um, I know from some fundamental traders that I know, this might get a little deep into the fundamental, but I'm going to say it anyway. There is the rig count in for West Texas Intermediate. I forgot the name of uh, the
Baker
range, but
Hughes. Is that it?
well, Baker Hughes does the count,
Okay.
but in the region in Texas, it's been going down. So what does that mean? Well, it's just not worth drilling for oil at these prices. So the rigs, they don't they don't drill. It's a form of supply and demand. Now, um, then we see this. So Mark did it today up. Wow, I would call that an opening trade. And then from another perspective, because it had bearish news. Permian Basin, thank you. Well, yeah, Landman. That's exactly what Landman does.
Yep.
Um, it's it's funny. Not funny. It's a red flag. To have that. That was a what was it? $2.50 rally on the close to the close, which is what, almost 4%.
Yeah, it was up almost 5%. If you
Oh,
count the gap up, it was up 5% at one point today.
okay, there's another gap.
Yep.
Now that one, that's hard to buy, and I didn't. I saw that. I'm like, Well, what's my and it worked, but I wasn't willing to take that risk. Um, that I mean, they came after it. They couldn't find any sellers, and it still was hard to find till the opening in New York. But very friendly to me. I'm not outright bullish, but I don't want to sell it.
Yeah, same. I wanted to sell it as long as we broke out of that range, but we've been saying it, Coach Paul, right? Patterns are patterns until they break. This looks like a break. What's different about today than we had on the 21st of May? Uh, we broke out of that pattern, but we settled inside of it, right? This is the first time we're settling above or below one of those moving averages for the first time in a little while, right? Everything's been in the middle. Could this be a continuation potentially up to that 200 moving average? Switch over to natural gas really quick. What happened? You left.
It did the same thing as crude, even more violently. Uh,
Well, I was in this long when we were up 2.25%. Natural gas ended the day up 8%. Uh, I just overmanaged this one. Took some profit on it, but not what we were really looking for here. Uh, on the daily, natural gas came down to a higher time frame demand, 200 moving average down here, and if we look and we zoom out, we bounced here in April. That 200 moving average looks like a pretty damn good support in this market on the daily. And then if we go down to a shorter time frame, we have natural gas will put you in a homeless shelter if undercapitalized. Uh, hey, you can manage. So here's the thing on this trade where I took the long, I was long from I think $33 528, right? So I was long from right here. With my stop where it was initially, and I did add to this position, so I ended up taking two contracts. Um, where it was initially on one contract, I was risking $400. I added a second one when we started to break out of this range a little bit, and then moved my stop up to here. Still $400 worth of risk. So everyone calls the net gas, the widowmaker and things like that. Uh, you know, it's like Bigfoot. Right, everybody's scared of Bigfoot, but have you actually seen them? Have you actually seen natural gas be the widowmaker, or are you just like going off of the words that everyone else has said? What's scary about this? $400 risk on a market that moves percentage-wise pretty well, and yes, I could have gotten the direction wrong, but the risk was still only $400, right? But the potential in a market that moves so big percentage-wise, uh, is huge, right? And GDL just said it, right? What's the difference if you manage a risk? Natural gas could have, you know, went negative. I was gonna lose about $400, and if it was going negative, it would probably got really ugly. I might have lost $500, right? So this is a trade that I just have to hold on to because technically it was the right idea, and then I'm trading a market that percentage-wise presents a ton of opportunity when it gets to moving. So if I'm upset about anything, I ended the day red today. I saw Grant in the chat ask how I traded. I ended the day red today. I'm upset about this one because this was had the potential to be the trade for the day, and we talked about it early on. Um, so, I mean, what a trade! If natural gas is going to continue doing this, almost a 9% move on the day, 8% move on the day, I will continue to look at it because we know when it moves, Coach Paul.
yeah, and by the way, I have seen Bigfoot. Um,
Oh yeah,
yeah, Bob Lanier of the Detroit Pistons fame, and he had a size 22 foot,
that's a pretty big foot.
and it's in the Basketball Hall of Fame. His shoes, so that's the Bigfoot I saw. Otherwise, I haven't seen a hairy beast running around the woods yet. But as you just said, it really comes. It's risk management. What I have no clue that that would be up that hot much. Matter of fact, I would have taken a 2-to-1 on a day trade, and I would have got stopped out of shorts because we settled under the 200. I'm not trading it right now. On the daily, we settled below the 200. interestingly, it went right back to the 20.
Right back.
And so Wednesday's break, we just gave it right back today. And that's if you're trading a longer term in natural gas, that's when it becomes the widow maker, its nickname.
Got some people in the chat saying that for sure. That makes sense.
Um, but if you're managing risk in a day trade, like you said, if you can afford $400 and you like the trade and you're willing to accept that, yeah, great trade. Now, what the problem is, you're not, it starts turning against you and you really didn't accept the 400, so you move your stop.
Yeah.
Who's been guilty of that? That's where the widow maker comes. You, I still believe in trades like that. If you like it, don't look at it. Did you really accepted it? Put your stop in, get your objective. If you're staring at it, you're going to get shook.
Yeah,
It's
that was
up.
my mistake.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was staring at this garbage instead
Yeah.
of just
And
letting it go. Instead of just letting it go. Like I'm clearly like super aware of why I got out of this trade, and it was because I was looking for it to do something in a time frame that it wasn't going to do it. And uh, I think that's partly why I enjoy momentum trades because when they start going, and I've said this before, I'm cool holding a trade if it goes in my direction, or if it goes somewhere, right? If it starts moving, even if it goes towards my stop, I'm okay holding it, trusting the stop. But when it doesn't do anything, for
yeah.
me, it just gives me more of a reason to touch the trade. Uh, and this is where I just need to just shut it down, right? Don't look and let it
Yeah.
go.
Um, I, 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 I highly recommend that if you start getting jittery, like because in the front of your mind is this get going now.
Right?
I would guilty. It's like, can we just get to my profit
Yeah. It's
now?
like I know where we're going. Just go already.
Yeah, right. Which turns into doubt, which turns into anxiety, which turns into impatience, which turns into son of a gun. But anyway, that was it was a classic. I wasn't trading it. I'm glad I would. Well, actually, it would have been short and had a loss. Okay, but going back to if you didn't want to take the full net gas, there is a mini and a micro.
Yep.
So, um, if that's the size of you, maybe you take two micros, whatever it is. The gap like that was. By the way, I want to do it. The Sunday night gap seems to hold a hell of a lot more than any other
At
gaps.
least on that first day, we've seen it like come back for it later in the week, but on that first day, yeah, I'm curious of the stats on that because it's that's what today was.
Yeah, and that would make sense. I mean, there's 2 days of news
Right.
or some actions um, that you're going to have gaps. We see it in Bitcoin a lot because it trades. We see it. We saw it in gold. We saw it a lot. So I would get. I'm more ambitious on a gap on a Sunday night. I'll be watching that a little closer.
Yeah, that
Forget
could have
about
been
a
the trade
life.
for the freaking week.
Well, if you did one micro of each of those, and you were willing to take that risk,
Yeah.
you have a good week today.
Yep. Player in the chat is in there playing Wheel of Fortune or something, guessing letters or something. I don't know what's going on in there. Uh, I don't know what's going on. Whatever you got to do to entertain yourself. Nice trending day there in natural gas. Any other markets we want to talk about, Coach Paul? We got 15 minutes left. Any other markets on your mind?
Um,
Chat, if you guys have any questions, let us know.
let's look at the
Look
bonds.
at the bonds, and then GDL will take a look at silver as well, because silver
Oh
had a
yeah.
pretty big move today. Here are the bonds, 30-year on the daily.
Um, some selling. We really did it after the rally today. I think let's go to the half an hour.
Janine, have a good one. Oh, play. There we go. Billy, you guessed it. Yeah, you guys don't understand how entertaining you make doing this. Sometimes some random stuff just pops up in the chat, and player was playing like either, yeah, there we go, tariffs, spelling out tariffs. Right. Here's a 30-minute in the 30-year Coach Wall from last night.
Well, the bonds after that rally from Friday still can't get any follow through buying. Um, had a pretty decent broke a handle, got back under the 200 on the half hour, starting to trend a little lower again. Um, Still, that issue has not been resolved. I don't see it getting resolved anytime soon, but can't hold a rally. Keep an eye on it tomorrow. We could have a decent break, which leads to why that might be breaking. Let's look at the Swiss or Euro currency.
Dollar weakness.
Dollar weakness. There's that. There's a trade. That was a nice trend line from a while ago.
Yeah.
Um, Look at that extension, new high on this rally from the correction low, the 50. Kind of looks like gold, does it not?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it
Let's
almost
put
looked
a
exactly
gold
like
right
gold.
next to it.
Here, let me see. Coach Robert showed me a trick one time. See if we can do this.
He
Try
knows
this.
all the tricks. I just can't remember all of
He
them.
knows everything. He knows literally everything about everything. I don't know how he
He's a
does it,
wizard.
but gold. How does that look, chat? You see that? That
Yeah.
confusing everyone?
Now make them both line charts.
Uh,
Now I'm really challenging you.
okay. Way to get these to show up as okay, whatever. We got it. Gold
Yeah.
is the orange line here, and the euro is the blue one. Look at that. We made the high here in gold.
Downtrend made the low just a little before. This very, very similar. This hasn't changed. Um, Having a decent rally here on both. It goes back to dollar weakness. Trust in the rest of the world is diminishing on you, and keeping capital in the US is the bottom line. That that also hurts our ability to float debt. Instead of going and US bonds used to be the safest place in the world to park money. Well, that trust has been damaged. So you start seeing weakness in the dollar, you start seeing gold rally, and then you start seeing interest rates go higher. Oh, there it is. Wow.
Get it out. Yeah.
Yeah, you very well. There you go. Need I say anything else? Buy one of each.
If only we had the dollar here, we could overlay that as well. And we probably see it going the other way. But interesting
Yeah.
stuff.
So, um, that theme is still on. The more this happens, the more the bonds have the rates have to go higher. I mean,
Got a question from Boomer Brian. Can you flip that to ES to show ES GC correlation? Let's take a look. Uh, Again, that correlation matrix that we have, I'll put it in the chat. MRCI. Take a look at this correlation matrix. That correlation that I think everyone kind of expects from gold and the equities is just not what's happening when you look at the numbers. They're not inversely correlated the way we kind of think. Again, the S&P is the blue line here. Gold is the orange one, and they're going the same direction, kind of. We had a couple of days where they were moving against each other, but uh, even if we zoom out, they're kind of going the same way. Uh, so maybe that correlation is broken for now, and it could change, right? Those things change all the time, and I think if you look at that correlation matrix website, you have the option to change how many days it takes into effect, right? I think the shortest is 30, but you can go all the way to like 180 days. If you look at 180 days, it might say that there was a correlation, but it looks like it's kind of you know, not as relevant. Um, it's interesting to look at charts like this.
Yeah, it does. You could look at that. Um, what's it's look at that in platinum. Where's platinum? Platinum had a nice day today too. If you're long.
Yeah, if you're uh, take a look here. It was the open. Let's change these back to candles. It was the open in platinum last night. Looks a lot like what looked like this. This looks like the equity chart.
S&P.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
looks like the
good.
equity chart for the day.
Now looking at a daily. Oh, we got
Everything's
close to that
everything
20.
kind of rallied today.
Yeah.
Gold, platinum, silver,
Stocks,
stocks. Yeah, literally everything. Crude oil,
except for grains.
except for grains. Yeah, soybeans got beat up a little bit.
Yep. Um, Bitcoin didn't. Interesting. Let's look at Bitcoin.
Psalm 91. If you are trading on Top Step X, you do not have to worry about manually rolling over. It'll roll for you. Uh, in my personal account, I have to make sure I roll everything over in Quant Tower. If the contract expires, then I'll pull up the chart and it'll just have no data. You don't want to trade that, but I do have to make sure I roll manually. Here is Bitcoin on the daily, Coach Paul.
Yeah, nice correction. We had that trend line going down. It's still underneath that correction trend line, holding the 20. Um, when this thing goes, we could be right back up to those highs. I didn't realize I stopped. It's under on a half hour. It's under the 200. I'm gonna wait for that to close above the 200, and I think we get a sharp rally. Still in an uptrend. Um, kind of like that. I'm gonna be marking that down too.
All right. Drop that fairy tale Bitcoin money down. All right. Let's get to some questions we got in the chat here. Monica says, Coach Jay, Coach Paul, can you please shed some light on, or share some tips on how a trader can stop oneself from being influenced by other traders' opinions, habits, and biases?
Oh,
Go ahead.
great question.
Go ahead.
Don't don't listen. Don't get involved. I don't really. You know what? What's the study once? It's about envy. If someone's doing well and you're struggling, they want. They want. Some people love to do that to you. So
Oh,
then
yeah.
you don't. Then you're you've lost your energy, your focus, because. And then when you do that, you're not going to follow a trading plan. You're not going to follow risk management. You're going to be, fuck, I want to be there too. Excuse me. Shoot, I want to be there too. And
You
then
said it right the first time.
then you're in a tailspin. Um, there's an old saying about opinions, because really, it's at the end of the day, it's opinions. Um, Everyone has one, but they're usually full of
Yep.
um I know, I'll be kind. I'll be keep this in a family mode, but this is the real thing is you start valuing their opinion versus valuing your ability to manage risk. I've been caught in that.
S-
I I don't follow it. I follow very little on Twitter. I watch Topstep X. Maybe I'm sheltering myself, but I really don't care. I don't. I At the end of the day, you have to think this way. I'm making decisions that affect my account. I
Right.
need to make the best decisions. My energy has to be focused on what I do, good, bad, or indifferent. You don't see a big opinions when a trader is in a tailspin. I'll give it to Coach Dakota. He puts it out there, good, bad, indifferent. And there are some people, but the majority is look at how great I am. And then you're caught into being, why aren't I great? And then the next thing you're doing is taking too much size, making trades you didn't want to make. You have to build it and you have to answer to who?
Often your account.
Yourself. So don't follow it. I know maybe because I'm an old man. I don't, and I've maybe it's I know what that means. And the root of that is for trading is terrible because that's envy. Um, and then you're caught in this endless cycle that doesn't do any good to your trading. Zero, literally zero. So when you see people go, look how good I am, you don't know anything else. With how much money are you trading? Here, I mean, look at I made $5,000 today, and you didn't. It's really what they're saying.
Right.
Well, if you have $1 million, you made $5,000. It's 0.02%. So this is really important, and the fact that you bring it up is really good. You've taken the first step. Like, how do I stop this? Now it's easier for me because I don't in the social media part. I don't get into it too deeply. But I know this. On a trading floor, you would get that, uh, and it's for. But go back to this. You don't need it because the what you need is to develop your trading plan. And then there's a lot of people. There's help out there for that. Kind of like what you do on this show here. We don't give you a trading plan. We just give you some review and things we look at. But when your focus is on you, you're going to do a hell of a lot better than when your focus is on what someone thinks.
That was very well said, Coach Paul. Trying to think if I even have anything to add to that. Uh, Understand that everyone is wrong eventually. Right. And that no one has all of the right answers. And I think Monica might be, you might be, let's say you're watching Top Step TV. I'm saying this as somebody who's on Top Step TV. And in the first, little while I was trading with traders on Top Step TV, I had to deal with this, right? Where I'm trading with Dakota. He's number X at one point, number one on the big board. And I'm trading next to him with, years of experience as well, but maybe not necessarily on the big board. And I will say firsthand that I started to question some of the decisions I made, right? Why am I looking for a short when he's seeing a long if he's number one on the big board? What you have to remind yourself is that everyone's going to get it wrong. So he doesn't know any better than you do. And I think what's most important, like Coach Paul said, is if I'm going to lose money, I want to lose money based on decisions that I've made, right? Whether they're right or wrong. Because let's say Top Step TV and you're using it for information. I think it's great for new traders to kind of see how experienced traders make decisions, right? It's not about making money at the end of the day. It's about how does a trader make a decision about their process so then you can replicate that in your own. Top Step TV was to shut down tomorrow. Full disclosure, it's not. Gonna be going for a little while. But if it was to shut down tomorrow, can you come to the conclusion where you're making your own decisions? And that's what's most important. But understand there are going to be times where you look and today, for example, I lost money continuing to get short after that first that initial short worked out. Um, if you watch me take that short and said, "Hey, this guy's wrong," telling you as somebody who's been doing this for almost 15 years, 13 years, going to be wrong, right? So don't trust anyone's opinion more than your own eyes. We're all playing the same game.
Great answer and a great question. I don't think we covered that enough. It's a
Question.
it's a really good question. That's why I can't say it enough. Here, learn one of the things is if the entity isn't out to teach,
Yep.
then they're out for something else. Someone put it really well here. One of envy and pride fall under one of the seven deadly sins. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's really that's awesome. Yeah. And by the way, you have to compare it to your capital. I had this idea. I had no idea. I had a really good trade on. I saw one of my heroes in the pit make a trade literally on a spread for size, and I did the math. I saw him flip it. It took about half an hour. He made $45,000 on the trade, and this was 1985 money. I was like, I felt so small. I just like what I'm never. Just it ruined me. And he was a really good guy. He goes, "Yeah, you saw that, huh?" He goes, and he just looks at me. He goes, "Don't think you're going to do that. I have the money in my account. I've been doing this a lot longer." Uh, Became one of my mentors. Really good guy. But see that point, that comparison is you want to, because right away that envy is going to say, "Well, I got to just throw throw caution to the wind or my plan, and I got to start trading big, and I got to be right."
Try to hit a home run with a toothpick, break your
Ouch!
fucking hand. Uh,
I've never heard that. Thank you.
I just made that one up. Just made that one up. Sometimes I'm good like that. Uh, how do you forgive yourself for making the same mistake? I lost my XFA in 1 day. Jen and John says, well, 2 days. Jen and John, I Julie Gerner. Julie Gerner. I followed her randomly on Twitter one day. She does this Substack, and she sent an email today with the new article in her Substack. The title is "Take Away Your Internal Resistance." Uh, you losing your account in 2 days, is that an internal resistance that you're allowing to keep you back from the success that you are looking for? You get to a point where you pass an account, and for whatever reason, you get to the same level and you're stopping yourself. Why is that? Uh, Jen and John, I'll also ask you. You failed you lost your XFA in 2 days. How many days did it take to pass it? How many days did it take to pass that combine? How many days? 11 days.
11
Okay,
days.
good. I like that. So you've come to a realization, because I know you were passing combines faster than that earlier, that it's going to take a little bit more time. What happened, most likely in your case, is you took a losing trade. And anyone ever like jump in water and it's colder than you thought it was gonna be, and then you just like freeze up, you feel like you can't swim? That's what happened to you. And instead of just breathing, you started to try to hold your breath, right? I couldn't switch my bias today. It's not that you couldn't switch your bias, because I couldn't switch my bias today either. My XFA is still alive. You couldn't switch your bias, but you couldn't manage your risk either, because you couldn't accept being wrong for the day, and that's the difference. Accept that you're wrong. It's going to happen. It's going to happen for every single person here. But if you allow losing to blow your account, then that's something completely different, right? You're not willing to be a trader at that point. You're hoping something that is going to work out. And when it doesn't, because you're relying on hope, when it doesn't work out, then we feel kind of discouraged. And it's just like, oh, nothing's ever going to work. So let me just throw in size and figure it out, right? trust yourself enough as a trader to say, hey, you know what? Today didn't go my way. But if I trade my process tomorrow, I could recover some of it. Not all of it, doesn't have to be all of it, but I could recover some of it. If I trust my process the next day, I can recover some more of that. And now this loss is just a part of the journey, right? You're not trusting yourself enough to say that I can accept this losing day and move forward from there. It's difficult to do, but trust the work that you do. Uh, Anything you got to add to that, Coach Paul?
Perfect. That's I just go back when you do that, you're ignoring your stop. You're trying to, like I said, trying to be right. And that's a human nature. It's very easily done. But you have an option. Go in and cut it off at 15%. Go back and review every time you've had bigger than a 15% loss in your account. Do it. Just go and do it and add it all up. And then you can, if you don't get the lesson there, I don't know if you can get the lesson. I know I had to do that. I was like, who did that to me? And because you have two U's, dude, there's when you're under pressure, you know, it's making decisions under pressure. That's where it gets out of control. That's that other person that won't accept it. The beauty is you can set it up in Top Step X. Boom, I'm out. And you might not like it, but you're going to like that a lot better than losing it because that is the bottom line. That's the principle. That's the rules. So look at it as a great learning lesson. I really mean it. Go back and add them all up, and you're going to see something. Probably better than watching opinions on Twitter.
If you lost an account today and you couldn't manage your risk, but you know what somebody else made on Twitter, made on social media, delete all your social media accounts right now. Delete every
Yeah.
single one of them. Doesn't fucking matter what anybody else did. If you can't control the risk on your own account, don't look at another Twitter post. Don't look at another Instagram from anybody. Delete every single because you need to focus on yourself. Uh, Everyone else
Hey,
is playing their own game. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
and Jen and John, don't call yourself dumb. Just say it. This is the lesson. Turn it around. This is the lesson I didn't have.
Right.
Now,
Correct.
bang, I got it.
Yep.
So
Now, what are you
it's a
going to do with it?
valuable lesson. No, yeah.
Uh, do see some comments to say watch D and Jerome, Dr. Jerome, on their Wednesday sessions. Those are great sessions, by the way. If you're looking for some mindset stuff and trading psychology, I do recommend watching those. But then at the end of the day, don't do what everyone else does. It's like, oh yeah, I just got this new workout plan, 60-day workout plan to gain a bunch of muscle. You put the plan up real nice and neat. You put your gym clothes out the night before because you're gonna go to work out in the gym in the morning, and then you hit snooze on your alarm and you don't go. But you got the gym plan, so you know you're subconsciously telling yourself that you're gonna, you know, hit your fitness goals. You're not gonna do it unless you actually do it. So get whatever motivation you need, and then uh, implement real fixes for changes, and then be patient. Be patient. If I go in the gym right now lift 100 pounds once, Coach Paul. I don't start flexing in the mirror. I do, but I'm
Uh,
not seeing any changes.
well, these are it's just a great discussion. And really that one right there. Thanks for being open, Janin, John. And we've all go through it. But for me, that one was the biggest. You go back and you see that and you know it, and I haven't lost an account since. I won't let it happen.
Stuff. Stuff. All right, we got Coach Hoop coming up in Discord in about 5 minutes or so. Show him some love over there. Then, of course, Coach Ray and Coach Vince, 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Central Time. And then Coach Dakota with Slow Markets at 7:30. I will be joining him tonight for Slow Markets. And then, of course, Aaron trades gold. Aaron trades gold for the London Open at 1:30 a.m. Central Time. Probably not gonna be awake for that one, but I'm sure Aaron's gonna have some fun trading gold tonight. And then we have D with the London Open at 3:30 a.m. Central. Thank you everyone for joining us, Coach Paul. Thank you as always for helping us for running this segment, not helping us, running this segment with me. Uh, it's always a great time. Andrew, thank you for sending the questions. Chat, thank you for asking good questions. Those great questions lead the conversation. So I got nothing else, Coach Paul. You got anything before we go?
Um, learn, learn from. Don't feel your feel that loss. Understand why, and then you don't have to watch the envy parade on Twitter, and you will get better. That I do know, and that's it for me.
Good stuff. If you haven't done so already, Shubham said, "This is a great discussion. I loved it." Don't you think the likes are a little bit low? If you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button on the way out. We appreciate you all joining. We will talk to you all tomorrow. Trade well, manage your risk, be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, but be honest with yourself. Tell somebody you love that you love them, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.